As most of you know, the Game Awards happened last night, and don't worry, I will be doing some sort of live hangout to talk about my thoughts on, the winners, the trailers, and all that good stuff. But this video is going to be about one game shown off during the festivities, and that is Sea of Thieves, which finally got its release date. And I'm going to talk about whether or not that is a good or bad day to release Sea of Thieves. What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. And Rare had said before the Game Awards even started, they said a few days in advance that they had a new trailer for Sea of Thieves, and it showed a little bit of the cosmetic customizations that you can do. But of course, the big news at the end of the trailer was we finally have a date where it'll be available for all, and that is March 20th. It'll be 4K Ultra HD, HDR, Xbox One X Enhanced, as well as Xbox Play Anywhere, which means if you buy the Xbox One version, you get the PC version, and vice versa. It's also not a free-to-play game. I know a lot of people, for whatever reason, have been of the mind that Sea of Thieves was a free-to-play game, and Rare always said that it wasn't. And if you go to the pre-order page, it is available to pre-order for $59.99, and if you pre-order now, you get a chance to get invited to the closed beta before launch, as well as some, cosmetic pack, right? I'm looking forward to playing the game, finally, March 20th. The full release, I have played it in the alpha, but, can't really talk too much about that. They also announced a Xbox wireless controller Sea of Thieves limited edition to go along with the game. This also goes for $75, and it's available actually in, 2 months? February 6, 2018. It has a deep purple translucent design, mysterious glowing skull, which I've seen pictures where it glows in the dark, textured grip, button mapping, and Bluetooth technology. It's a pretty good-looking controller, if you ask me. I know Xbox and their controllers, they love them, but people like them. They keep on buying them, so, that's what the controller looks like, $75. Pretty expensive. So either way, they're going all out with Sea of Thieves. They have a controller made specifically for it. That was the one game they kind of talked about at the Game Awards, and it is a big game for Microsoft. It is a new IP. It's from Rare, and Rare's a big studio, one of Microsoft's biggest. And I wanted to talk briefly, well, maybe not briefly, about the release date for the game, because release dates are ever so important now, especially since games are starting to be released more and more, like every month. It just seems so packed. Now, I think it's good that this game is coming out early in the year. I think it would have been buried coming out later in the year, which is, I made a video about that last year. I was like, hey, I think Sea of Thieves needs to come out, not during the holiday season, not October, not November, not December. It needs a good release date. And I was like, January, February, March, sometime here. And March 20th, on the face of it, when they were probably picking release dates and maybe when development was wrapping up, is a pretty good release date. You had Far Cry 5 and a bunch of other games coming out in February. You avoid Red Dead Redemption 2, which doesn't have a release date, but if you had to guess, was coming out in May. So it's like, hey, you have this time to itself, right, where maybe it could thrive and it could grow. Of course, things don't always go as planned. As well, PSX is tonight, and as we know, because I did a video about it earlier, the PlayStation 4 exclusive God of War, The Return of Kratos, is rumored to be launching on March 22nd, which would be 2 days after Sea of Thieves. Okay, sure. And then last night, in one of the funnier segments, the guy who made No Way Out, who said a lot of interesting and funny things during the show. His new game from EA, the kind of co-op Prison Break Simulator, I guess you would call it, No Way Out. His game comes out on March 23rd, that Friday. It's like, wow, okay, so now you go from March 20th, having no competition, to now potentially God of War, and then No Way Out that same week. And then on top of that, Ubisoft decided to delay 3 of its games, one of them unannounced, so we don't know what it was. And they also decided to delay The Crew 2 out of March, and delay Far Cry 5 out of March, or out of February, but into March, and it's now new release date, it's March 27th. So now Sea of Thieves goes from having potentially a week by itself where it's the only really big game to sharing it with 3 other games. You know, Far Cry 5 is one of the biggest franchises in gaming. Maybe I exaggerated it being one of the biggest, but Far Cry 5 is a huge franchise from Ubisoft. Far Cry 3 and 4 have sold incredibly well. It's going to satisfy the people looking for that first-person shooter open world. Of course, No Way Out is going to get some advertisements from EA. Seems like it could be a good game. And then, of course, there's God of War itself. You're going to have one exclusive from Microsoft, one exclusive from PlayStation, kind of going head-to-head. I didn't really expect that. Now, I guess it's possible that God of War doesn't come out on March 22nd, which, I don't know. I'm starting to think that it will. I think it'll come out on March 22nd. Now, is March 20th a good release date? And should Microsoft move it to another month? Move it to April? Maybe move it to May? I don't know. Here's the thing. They already have everything sent out. You know, you have this date, and they've probably have had this date for quite some time, right? I don't think they're gonna move it, because I do think Microsoft has a lot of faith in Sea of Thieves. The thing is, when you look at those other games coming out around it, God of War, No Way Out, Far Cry 5, and maybe even other games that we don't know about yet, you could argue that Sea of Thieves really doesn't share any of the demographics as those other games. I mean, Far Cry 5 is a first-person open-world shooter. God of War is a hack and slash action game, and No Way Out is a co-op experience. Like a small kind of co-op experience. I'm sure the people at Microsoft and Rare are probably thinking, listen, Sea of Thieves appeals to a different demographic of gamer. It doesn't appeal to the one looking for, that rip-roaring adventure, playing as God of War. So maybe that don't cross. Plus, it's PlayStation exclusive. This is Xbox, so maybe there's not much crossover there. Far Cry, I think Far Cry 5 is a little bit bigger of an obstacle to them because it does come out a week later. And a lot of people, they like to go with what they know and what they know they'll like. That's why you go to a restaurant and a lot of people just order, they don't really expand their horizons. They don't order things that are new to them. They kind of stick to what they know they'll enjoy, and in a lot of cases here, this is Far Cry 5. People know if they're going to enjoy that game or not. And maybe more people are willing to spend $60 on Far Cry 5 because they know they will like it, because they've enjoyed Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4. While here's this new IP from Sea of Thieves. They haven't played the alpha. They have no idea if any of their friends are going to play it. They have no idea if they'll enjoy it. So maybe now, because of that, people would be like, I'll buy Far Cry 5 for $60 and I won't get Sea of Thieves. It's possible. It's just that there's a lot of money in that whole week span. And that's just from the games that we know are coming out at that point in time. You have $60 for Sea of Thieves. You have $60 for God of War. You have $60 for Far Cry 5. And you have $30 for No Way Out. If you wanted to buy all those games, you're looking at $210 before taxes. That's a lot of money for people. And someone might be like, listen, I would like to get Sea of Thieves, but my heart belongs to God of War, so I'm going to have to buy God of War now, and I'll save Sea of Thieves for a different day. Or, hey, I would love to play Sea of Thieves and God of War, but hey, Far Cry 5 is my jam. I only have $60 I can spend right now. You know, I'm gonna go with what I know I'll like. You know, and that's kind of the risk of being a new IP, is that you kind of lose that comfort food mentality. People have to kind of jump out of the limb, go on the limb to see if they're enjoying it because it's brand new. So here I go thinking from one moment that, hey, March 20th ain't so bad of a release date to Sea of Thieves, and I'm sure Microsoft and Rare are probably thinking the same thing. Like, yeah, March, you know, no other games are, and suddenly within, 24 hours, it's packed, and I don't know what would be the best situation for it. I want Sea of Thieves to succeed, as I think most people should. You'd never want to see a game fail, but I'm just worried for the game's potential when it's, has such stiff competition. God of War, Far Cry 5, and No Way Out are pretty stiff competition for Sea of Thieves. Maybe it would be best to delay it, but then if you do delay it, it kind of would seem like you're running away from the other games and you're not as confident in it. Maybe you show confidence by staying with the date, by saying to other people that, hey, they're different demographics. Sea of Thieves appeals to someone who's not interested in God of War and Far Cry 5. I don't know. Maybe that's how they go about it. I just don't. I don't know. I just think it's going to be a tough sell because there's so many other games in that time period, and I would like for Sea of Thieves to succeed if it's a good game, which I can't wait to play it again because I want to judge it for myself. So let me know what you guys think. Is this a good release date for Sea of Thieves? Should they move it out of the way of some of the other games coming out around the same time? And when is exactly, State of Decay and Crackdown 3 supposed to launch? All those are supposed to launch early 2018. Sea of Thieves is the first Microsoft game for this year, March 20th. There's only a few months after that. You got, April, May, and then E3. Are we going to get, State of Decay in April? Are we going to get Crackdown in June before E3? Or are those games slipping to later on in the year? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about all this stuff. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button to show your support for the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you're new or haven't already. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're always notified when I drop new videos. Thank you guys so much for watching this one. Don't forget, I will be doing some sort of live show to talk about, my thoughts on who won the Game Awards and how the show actually played out. So stay tuned for that. And I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.